This show is phenomenal. It all begins in the quiet hours of the night when the LAPD headquarters is nearly empty, except for Morgan Guillory, a quirky, sharp-minded single mother working as a cleaner. She's mopping floors in the Major Crimes Unit when she stumbles upon something unusual: a murder board pinned up by detectives investigating the death of a man named Anthony. At first glance, it's just another case, but Morgan's mind doesn't work like everyone else's. Her brain is a machine, scanning, analyzing, connecting dots in seconds. She notices something odd. The board labels Lynette, Anthony's wife, as the prime suspect. She suggests Lynette isn't the killer. She is actually a victim and wrote it down on the board. The next morning, Detective Karadek is baffled when he sees the board. They check the security footage and discover the unexpected. It was Morgan, a cleaner, not a detective, not even an intern. She simply wrote victim on the board and left. That same morning, we see a different side of Morgan. She's not just a quirky genius, she's a single mother of 3. Her morning routine is a chaos: waking the kids, organizing their bags, and heading to the grocery store. Her oldest daughter, Ava, is a moody teen who seems perpetually embarrassed by her mom's eccentricity. Her son, Elliot, is clever, curious, and clearly inherited her brain power. And the youngest, baby Chloe, tags along without a care in the world. At the store, Morgan's skills shine again. As she scans items into the cart, she keeps a running tally in her head. When the cashier overcharges her by a few dollars, Morgan calmly tries to call out the errors: missed discount, mis-scanned item. She realizes that Ava secretly slipped the pricey lip gloss into the cart. The cashier is stunned. Ava, of course, is mortified. They don't have a car, so the family rides the bus home with groceries in their own cart. When they get back, their kind-hearted neighbor Henry helps unload the bags. And that's when we learn more about Morgan's world. She's still in regular contact with her ex, Ludo, her kid's father. They've separated, but the relationship isn't bitter. They share parenting duties and talk frequently. Back at the precinct, the detectives bring Morgan in for questioning. She's not flustered, not defensive. She explains what she saw, what she changed, and why, like it's the most normal thing in the world. The detectives are stunned. Her explanation is unorthodox but compelling. She points out details they missed. The curtain tiebacks in the victim's home are missing. Why? In a perfectly staged crime scene, that detail stands out. Morgan theorizes that one of the tiebacks was used to restrain someone. Maybe Lynette wasn't the killer. Maybe she was taken. And maybe the real killer is still out there. Detective Karadek, the straight-laced, no-nonsense lead investigator, isn't buying it. To him, Morgan is a meddler, a civilian interfering in police business. But Lieutenant Selena Soto, the unit's supervisor, is intrigued. She sees something in Morgan, a brilliance that doesn't come along often. As forensic results begin to trickle in, the unthinkable happens. Morgan's theory holds up. DNA evidence reveals that someone else was in the house. The story changes overnight. Lynette may have been kidnapped after all. But Karadek still doesn't trust her. Instead of thanking her, he has Morgan locked up. He's not convinced she's innocent. How could a cleaner know so much? Is she manipulating them? Is she involved? It's a low point, and for a moment, even Morgan wonders if she's stepped too far. Then the case deepens. The team finds security footage of Lishka Jang, a woman who had a legal dispute with Lynette near the crime scene. She becomes the new prime suspect. Her motive is clear. The timeline makes sense. But Morgan, now released, overhears the detectives discussing this, and she can't help herself. She sees something that no one else does. She examines the footage and notices that the wind direction is wrong. There's a church flag across the street, and based on wind patterns, it should be blowing in a different direction at that hour. What she meant is that the timestamp was manipulated. The video was doctored. Lishka isn't guilty. The investigation is heading in the wrong direction again. Karadek is annoyed, but Lieutenant Soto is amazed. The department is slowly realizing what Morgan is capable of. She isn't just a smart woman, she sees what no one else even thinks to look for. As Morgan turns to leave the precinct, Lieutenant Soto stops her for a quick word. Curious about her uncanny ability to see what seasoned detectives miss, the lieutenant asks her straight up how she does it. Morgan shrugs, almost downplaying it, and casually admits she has an IQ of 160. She tells her it's called being high-potential intellectual, a technical term for individuals with advanced cognitive abilities, and she watches a lot of true crime documentaries. Meanwhile, Detective Karadek meets with the daughter of the missing woman. The daughter shares something disturbing. Weeks before the murder, Lynette had received a secret letter from a woman named Sarah. After reading the letter, Lynette became visibly agitated, and shortly after, Sarah took her own life. This detail hits hard, and Karadek is immediately curious about what the letter might have said. He reports this to Lieutenant Soto, and the two decide they need to locate the letter. They believe it might still be somewhere in Lynette's office. Knowing Morgan's insight could make or break the case, Soto reluctantly reaches out and asks her to come back and help. She's not thrilled, but Morgan agrees. Later that day, Karadek brings her up to speed on everything they know so far. Then he brings her along to question Sophia, Lynette's sister. During the interview, Morgan picks up on something subtle. Sophia mentions her background in biology, but there's something off about her demeanor. Morgan suspects she's hiding something. She shares this concern with Karadek, but he brushes it off, telling her she's overreaching and needs to stop interfering. Still, Karadek tries to access Lynette's office himself, but the firm denies him entry and insists he get a search warrant. In the men's room, Karadek is caught off guard when Morgan hands him a letter she found after breaking into Lynette's office in disguise. It reveals that Lynette's client, Brian Diamond, had assaulted a paralegal named Sarah, who later died by suicide. Morgan believes this is the motive behind Anthony's murder, but Karadek shuts it down immediately. The letter was obtained illegally and can't be used in court. It's inadmissible. Brian Diamond is brought in for questioning and claims he was at Fontana during the murder. His alibi checks out, but Morgan grows suspicious and wants to dig deeper. Before she can, Lieutenant Soto arrives with a furious representative from Lynette's law firm and abruptly ends the interrogation. Brian walks out untouched. Soto turns to Karadek. The firm is accusing someone of breaking into Lynette's office twice, and she knows it was Morgan. Good intentions or not, what Morgan did was illegal. She was thrown under the bus. The firm's accusations, unauthorized access, snooping through confidential files, led to her removal from the case. Lieutenant Soto has no choice. She tells Morgan to step away. This time it feels final. But walking away isn't something Morgan knows how to do. She may no longer be on the LAPD's radar, but her brain won't stop connecting the dots. Something about Brian Fontana's alibi still doesn't sit right. The next day, Detective Karadek shows up at Morgan's house. Officially, she's been dismissed from the case, but clearly he's still listening. He wants to hear more about her suspicions. She tells him there's something off about Brian Diamond's alibi. As they drive back toward the station, Morgan shares a chilling theory with Karadek. She suspects that Brian Diamond was having an affair with Lynette's sister, Sophia. Together, they confronted Lynette, maybe to stop her from exposing Brian's crime. Morgan points out that Fontana isn't a likely destination for a man like Brian. It's a low-key, family-oriented city, not exactly the playground of the ultra-rich. Then she brings up something she saw during her earlier visit to Sophia's house, Lynette's sister. A small toy, stamped with the Fontana City logo. It seemed random at the time, but now, it's another puzzle piece. If both Brian and Sophia were in Fontana at the same time, there's only one logical explanation. They were there together. And if they were together on the day of the murder, their alibis don't cancel suspicion. They confirm collusion. Karadek is stunned. Her theory is bold, but disturbingly plausible. Still, with no solid evidence, they're stuck. Then, during the drive back to the precinct, Morgan starts thinking about the timeline again. The house where Anthony was found, it didn't feel like a fresh crime scene. It was cold, too cold, and that's when it hits her. What if the murder didn't happen when everyone thinks it did? She believes Brian and Sophia killed Anthony days before and then froze the house to delay decomposition and confuse the coroner's time of death estimate. It's a move that only someone with scientific training could pull off, and Sophia, being a biologist, fits that bill perfectly. Karadek pushes back. What's the motive? Lynette must have confronted him. Things escalated. Anthony, Lynette's husband, tried to defend her, maybe even grabbed a gun. But Brian overpowered him. In the struggle, Brian killed Anthony. Panicked, Brian and Sophia hatched a cover-up. They tied up Lynette, staged the crime scene, lowered the house's temperature to throw off the timeline. and altered the surveillance footage to point suspicion at someone else entirely. Sophia used her science background to manage the environmental setup. It was a near-perfect staging until Morgan saw through the cracks. Karadec can't deny it anymore. Every wild theory Morgan threw out is starting to make terrifying sense. Morgan tells the team to search a remote cabin owned by Lynette's family. It's a long shot, but they follow her lead, and it pays off. At the cabin, they find Lynette alive, tied up, but alive. Everything Morgan suspected was true. The false timeline, the motive, the accomplices, all of it. The LAPD rescues Lynette and arrests Brian and Sophia. The case is closed, but more than that, Morgan has proven herself. Her insights didn't just help, they were critical. Back at home, Morgan returns to her normal chaos. Bedtime routines, teenage eye rolls, and baby cries. But something has changed. Ava, who spent the day embarrassed and skeptical, looks at her mom differently now. There's pride in her eyes. The next day, Morgan is called into the precinct. Lieutenant Soto offers her a consulting position with the Major Crimes Unit. She wants Morgan on the team, officially. At first, Morgan hesitates. She knows what this means. Long hours, dangerous situations, and juggling her already fragile home life. But she also knows she can't turn away. This is what she's meant to do. But she has conditions. She asks for 20% more pay, on-site childcare, and one more thing: help finding her missing ex, Roman. Roman disappeared years ago, and Morgan has never gotten closure. Now, with access to police resources, she sees an opportunity. Soto agrees, and with that, Morgan officially joins the LAPD. Not as a janitor, not as a suspect, but as a consultant.